Welcome to ATV Television, the original television program for ATV enthusiasts and adventurers.
Hey, excuse me. Would you mind jumping on the back? I want to see how it feels. Thanks.
Hon, I'm sorry I'm late. I was just getting my glasses.
This is just plain wrong.
What?
The Outlander Max easily converts from 1 to 2 passenger mode, now with up to 6 times the warranty of the competition, a full 3 years.
The handles. Yeah, it's more comfortable.
In November of 2003, Yamaha introduced a new model to its lineup, the Rhino. Now, neither a true utility machine and certainly not an ATV, Yamaha used the term side-by-side to classify this new, sportier utility model. The side-by class was born, and it's basically a combination of an ATV's agility, a UTV's ability, and the fun of a dune buggy. From that day, the off-road world would never be the same. Yamaha started a whole new class of off-roading that we are just beginning to see blossom. Rhinos have an almost cult following in the sand dunes, creating a whole new way to explore the open stretches of sand. And they've also have become a more agile and fun way to go exploring than full-sized four-wheelers. Climbing in the Rhino, you'll find a very car-like setting, complete with dash controls like a turn and start ignition switch, a light switch, a choke knob, a 12-volt accessory outlet, and even a glove box. Now, in the center of the dash is a very complete digital gauge pod that contains a speedometer, odometer, hour meter, trip odometers, fuel gauge, clock, and indicator lights for the drive gear position and drive options. Now, also there on the dash is a very intuitive Yamaha switchgear for selecting between two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and four-wheel drive lock. In the center console is a gear selection lever with neutral in the center, reverse to the rear, and high and low ranges forward. Now, beside the shifter is the emergency brake lever, and our Sport Edition model came equipped with a Trick sport steering wheel and soft gray all-weather seats. And all Rhinos are controlled like a car with a throttle pedal and a brake pedal on the floor. The drivetrain and undercarriage is basically a modified version of the Grizzly 660 that's been stretched to fit the new side-by-side seating arrangements. The carbureted 660cc liquid-cooled, 5-valve, single-cylinder 4-stroke engine and the CVT transmission sit between the seats with drive shafts to the front and rear differentials. Shrouding the engine and the occupants with so much material, the engine's resonance in the Rhino is much more noticeable than being on an ATV. Otherwise, the engine and transmission package feels very much like that of the ATV from where it came, with the transmission engaging very quickly and the Rhino accelerating briskly. Yamaha's Ultramatic transmission transmits engine braking to all four wheels as unnoticeable in its job as it should be. The transmission delivers power to the rear differential by a direct rear drive shaft with no U-joints to rob power or add vibration. The front differential can be uncoupled using the dash-mounted switch for rear-wheel drive only, or with the push of a button can be engaged on the fly for four-wheel drive. And once in four-wheel drive, the switch can be slid over to uncover another button that will electronically engage the front differential's locker for true four-wheel drive. The front and rear suspensions are dual A-arms that provide 7.3 inches of travel. Stock, the Rhino has 5-way preload adjustable shocks, but the Sport Edition comes with some very trick piggyback reservoir shocks that are not only adjustable for preload, but also with damping control as well. The addition of the Sport package that includes these shocks adds almost $1,500, but these shocks are a big part of that cost and show it in how well they work compared to the stock units. Brakes are a pair of discs up front and a shaft-mounted disc in the rear, all operated by the foot pedal. 12-inch aluminum wheels are another special feature that's standard on the Sport Edition Rhino. And while they work great, the 25-inch Maxxis bias-ply tires are rather narrow and stiff and beg to be swapped for a set of radials. And unlike most ATVs, the Rhino can handle a little taller and more aggressive tire with lots of traction and still not be hard to steer. The Rhino weighs in at 1,050 pounds dry. It has a wheelbase of 75.2 inches and an overall length of 113.5 inches. Stock, it measures 54.5 inches wide and 73 inches tall to the top of its cage. Ground clearance is 12.1 inches. The fuel tank, located under the passenger seat, holds 7.9 gallons of fuel. The rear dump bed can hold 400 pounds and the Rhino can tow 1,212 pounds, and there's a 2-inch receiver hitch standard. The standard Rhino retails for $9,799. The Sport Edition we tested retails for $11,149 and includes the fully adjustable piggyback shocks, one-piece aluminum wheels, a molded roof, special silver sport seats and steering wheel, a water-dipped brushed silver bodywork, and special graphics, and a Baja-style front bumper. The good? Sit-down comfort, go-anywhere ability, and the Sport Edition shocks make such a huge difference in the handling of the Rhino that they alone make the price of the Sport Edition seem worth the extra money. The bad? Lots of engine resonance throughout the cab makes for a louder than wanted experience. It needs some adjustability in the controls for us smaller operators. The seats could be a little more supportive and it needs radial tires to make the most of its handling. The bottom line, the Sport Edition package makes the already wonderful Rhino even better. Now, except for the issue of not being legal on many of the ATV-only trails, the Rhino makes an awfully good case for not needing an ATV.
When you really use your ATV, you can depend on Quad Boss. Whether you need to get through a tough week of work or get through a weekend of rugged exploration, you can depend on Quad Boss. Quad Boss has the accessories you need to get the most out of your ATV. Quad Boss accessories are available at your local ATV retailer and accessory store. Ask for Quad Boss. You can depend on us.
Terracross RT, the new extreme terrain radial tire from ITP, built for hard-packed trails with more biting edges for steering, braking, and traction control. Wherever the terrain is extreme, ride on Terracross RT tires at your local dealer now. For the deep stuff, check out the new Mudlight XTR. You get exceptional traction power through any kind of mud, and the radial design ensures a smooth ride over any terrain. From ITP, the world's #1 ATV aftermarket tire and wheel source. Call for a free catalog or visit itptires.com.